Hello, good day. Welcome to another video lesson with the topic areas bounded by curves. So we'll be focusing on a region, finding the area of a given region, which is being enclosed by not only straight lines, but with curves or the graph of a polynomial function and some other functions whose graph are curvy. So in your previous lesson, in your previous mathematics subjects, particularly in plane geometry, natutunan nyo na kung paano kuhanin ang area ng kung ano-anong plane figures or polygons. Halimbawa, bigyan ka ng triangle, you know exactly what to do in finding the area. If you are given a rectangle, for instance, you will also be very much willing to find, because you know the formula, which is given by base times height for the rectangle, and for a triangle, that is 1/2 base times height. Now, what will happen if you are given a region which is not enclosed by straight lines? So, hindi na siya polygon. Ano ba ang gagawin natin doon? For instance, you are given this region kung saan na-enclose siya. Itong region na to, kung saan ang kanyang side, ito, nasa may vertical line sa A. Yung isang vertical line naman sa B. Dito, yung nasa baba niya is a straight line. Meanwhile, yung nasa taas is a curve. So, we are interested in finding the area of this region. Etong region na to. So, we want to find the area of this region. Yung nasa loob na yan. Now, what are we going to do? So, since we already know how to find the area of a rectangle, pwede natin gamitin yung idea na yon by filling this region with different rectangles. And then, bawat isang rectangle doon, kukuhanin mo yung area niya. And then, kung ilan mang rectangle ang magagawa mo sa loob niyan, i-add mo na lang yung mga area ng bawat isang rectangle na yon. Okay? So, kung mapapansin nyo, kung ito ang kukuhanin natin, area na to, and you want to make use of a rectangle, pwede natin gawa ng isang rectangle na magkakapareho ang length and width. Ayan. Pwede ding magkakaiba or pwede namang magkakapareho or exactly the same na mga rectangles ang magagawa mo. Alright. Alright. So, kung mapapansin nyo, marami tayong rectangle na nagawa. However, habang ginagawa natin yung mga rectangle na yun, meron tayong mga spaces kung saan hindi siya nakasama sa rectangle. Therefore, bilangin natin ito. We have how many rectangles? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Assuming that these rectangles have exactly the same width. Kasi this is not drawn to scale because I did not make use of a ruler. So, assuming na pare-pareho yan, dahil may 10 tayong rectangle, kukuhanin lang natin ang area ng bawat isang rectangle na yan. And then, i-add mo na. That will now be the area of the region. However, sa nakikita natin, meron tayong mga spaces. Eto. Maraming spaces na hindi na isama doon sa rectangle. Now, ano ba ang mangyayari dito? Kung inad lang natin ang mga area na nasa loob ng rectangle, itong mga natitira na yan ay hindi nakasama. Hindi siya naisama doon sa mga rectangle. Therefore, ano ba ang mas magandang gawin? So, sa nakikita natin, medyo thick pa yung rectangle. Medyo makapal pa yung rectangle na nagawa natin. So, pwede natin gawin na mas liitan natin yung width ng rectangle. So, ibig sabihin, habang mas nililiitan natin yung width ng rectangle, yung kapal ng rectangle na ginagawa mo, mas maa-approximate natin yung area ng buong region na ito, yung nasa loob, na na-enclose ng curve at etong A and B at saka yung line sa ilalim. Okay? Meaning to say, kapag mas malapit sa zero, hindi naman exactly zero kasi hindi na siya magiging isang plane figure. Habang mas lumalapit sa zero ang width ng isang rectangle, meaning to say, mas malapit din sa katotohanan yung makukuha nating region. And since we are talking about approximating or approaching zero, we are already referring to limit. We are already touching limit. Meaning to say, kapag pala kinukuha natin ang area ng isang region na hindi naman enclosed by straight lines or lines, simply lines, makikita natin na ang involved pala dito ay limit. At dahil ito ay isang function, suppose itong function na blue na nakikita nyo is represented by a function f of x. Meaning to say, si f of x, pwede natin kuhanan ng limit. And your limit, based on your calculus 1, is related to your derivative. Meaning, kapag binigyan ka ng isang function and that is a derivative, you are going to find the antiderivative of that function. Okay? Meaning, nandito na tayo ngayon sa integral calculus. Magagamit natin ang concept ng definite integral na natutunan nyo doon sa naunang video para makuha natin ang area ng mga regions bounded by curves. Paano natin gagawin yon? Doon na pumapasok yung yung fundamental theorem of calculus kung saan if you are given the antiderivative of a function f of x with respect to x at a closed interval a to b, ito yung sinasabi ng fundamental theorem of calculus, the answer daw will be f of b minus f of a. Or palitan natin yung mga variables dyan. Okay, we have f of b minus f of a. Ano yung mga nakikita natin dyan? Ito, your f of x, this one, is the given function. Ito, yung line na blue. That is your function. So, ibig sabihin pala, kukuhanin mo muna yung antiderivative ng f of x, which is now represented by capital letter F. Ito na yung antiderivative. Okay? Sabihin, dito ka muna mag-focus. Hanapin mo ang antiderivative niya, nakuha mo, capital letter F. And then, dito na papasok yung closed interval na A to B. Mula sa A, papunta sa B. This is called your lower limit and this is your upper limit. If this is the lower limit and that's the upper limit, mas mataas ito. So, isa-substitute mo siya doon sa nakuha mong antiderivative. Isa-substitute mo yung B, then minus the same antiderivative na sagot, sa-substitutean mo ng A and then subtract. Okay? So, yun ang process kung paano mo mahanap ang area ng katulad nitong mga regions bounded by curves. And based dito sa ating illustration, ang kukuhanin lang muna natin ay areas ng curves which is above the x-axis. Kung mapapansin nyo, etong block na to na nag-cross na line, these are the x and y axis respectively. So, ito yung x-axis natin and this is your y-axis. Okay? The plural of axis is axis. Yan. We have here the x-axis. So, ang pag-uusapan lang natin ay yung mga graphs or functions na whose graphs are above the x-axis. Wala muna tayo yung nandito sa baba. Wala muna tayo ng 2 or more functions na i-graph. Kasi sa mga susunod pa yon, medyo ibang proseso ang gagawin natin doon. Ngayon, kung mapapansin nyo, sabi natin, f of x with respect to x. So, kung ang pinag-uusapan lang naman pala natin ay si f of x, paano natin ma-identify ang A and B? Given na ba siya? The answer to that is yes. In a given problem, kapag ang pinag-uusapan lang natin ay curves or functions above the x-axis, automatic, nakalagay dyan sa problem kung ano yung A and B mo. Okay? Meaning, ibibigay yung function, pagkatapos may bigay yung function, ibibigay yung interval. Ito yung sinasabi natin from A to B. Or, aside from the function, ibinigay yung function. Halimbawa, the function is f of x equals x. That is your function. And then, hindi binigay yung closed interval. Sasabihin sa'yo, we have x equals 4 and x equals 6. So, yun ang magiging interval mo. Later, makikita niyo sa example natin. Now, let's try to apply kung ano ba itong sinasabi natin na magagamit natin ang concept ng fundamental theorem of calculus or simply the definite integral. Finding the definite integral of a given function para mahanap ang area ng isang region bounded by curves. Or pwede din naman kahit hindi curve, kahit straight line. Subukan natin ito sa mas basic na paraan. Suppose you are given, this is example number 1. Suppose you are given f of x is equal to x. and you are interested in finding the area of that function at a given interval which is from 0 to 3. Suppose 0 to 3 ang gagawin natin. Ito lang yung binigay na information. Hindi ko na sinulat yung ibang words. But the problem goes this way. Find the area bounded by the graph of the function f of x is equal to x and the x-axis. Kasi sabi natin, dito muna tayo sa functions above the x-axis with the closed interval of 0 to 3. Yun ang gagawin mo. Hanapin mo daw yung area bounded by the function f of x and the x-axis from 0 to 3. So, ang una mong gagawin, kung yan lang ang binigay sa'yo na information, magga-graph ka. Okay, gagawin mo muna yung graph ng function na sinabi. So, we can make use of this illustration. Medyo freehand lang po ito, kaya hindi siya masyadong accurate yung illustration. Okay, but the computations will be. So, this is your x-axis, this is your y-axis. So, you are interested in finding the function f of x is equal to x. So, we have here, okay, this is your function f of x. Okay, so nag-graph mo na. Pwede mo pa siyang i-extend dito sa left side. Nag-graph mo na siya. Remember, this is your origin, which is your 0. Pataas, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Dito din, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, etc. Now, medyo hindi exact yung graph natin. Ayusin natin. Okay. Kuha tayo ng straight edge. All right. Okay. Now, ito yung graph natin. This is your f of x. That one. Now, dahil nandiyan na sa x-axis, paano mo mailalagay yung close interval na 0 to 3? Kung napapansin niyo dito sa unang illustration natin, may nakalagay ng boundary. This is your a, this is your b, which is your lower limit and then upper limit. Dito, ang lower limit mo is 0, the upper limit is 3. Paano mo siya gagawin? Dito, may guhit na yung sa may 0 na part. Hindi mo na gagawin yung vertical line. Dito, hanggang 3 daw. So, you are going to make a vertical line dito sa may 3. So, ayan. Okay. Meaning to say, this is your lower limit and this is your upper limit. Okay? So, kung makikita mo, sabihin mo, alin ba dyan ang pinag-uusapan natin na region? Meaning to say, eto lang na nasa loob. This is the region that you are interested in finding. Eto, na nasa loob ng straight line at saka nung boundary ng red lines and then the x-axis. Etong triangle. Dahil triangle siya, kitang-kita mo na agad kung paano hanapin. Remember that the area of triangle is computed using the formula 1/2 base times height. Okay, yung base, yung nasa baba, height is the altitude. So dito, alin ba dyan yung base? Alin ba dyan yung height? Nakikita natin that your base, eto. Mula dito sa point na to hanggang dyan. So bibilangin mo lang, how many units are there? 1, 2, 3. Meaning, the base is, kunin natin yung 1/2 na constant, the base is 3. And then the height, titingnan mo lang, dito sa point na to, saan ba siya tumapat? Ito, nakikita natin na tumapat siya sa 3. Kaya 3 din yung height niya. Okay? Then we continue solving. We have 1/2 times 3 times 3. I-multiply muna natin yung 3 and 3. The answer is 9. So we have 1/2 times 9. Therefore, this is 9 over 2 square units. Ayan. The answer is 9 over 2, or the area is given by 9 over 2 square units. So, yun ang gagamitin natin, or that is now the value of your area bounded by this function and the x-axis including the closed interval. So, ngayon, dahil 9/2 square units siya, the question will now be, kaya lang naman pala ng ganitong paraan. What is now the essence of using the fundamental theorem of calculus or the definite integral? Ngayon, tingnan natin. Can we make use of that? Using the function f of x is equal to x, meaning, ang kukuhanin lang natin si x. Therefore, using the definite integral, it will become this way. We have x, derivative of x, from 0 to 3. 0 to 3. Now, dahil antiderivative yan ng x with respect to x from 0 to 3, alam natin na kapag mga polynomial functions siya, ang gagawin natin, or the power functions lang siya, get the base, or kukuhanin mo yung variable, add 1 to the exponent, and then yung bagong exponent, i-divide mo sa original na function. Now, we will get etong x. Remember that the exponent of x is 1. So, magiging 1. Okay? Plus 1. So, yan na yung, yan na yung expression mo. Then, nakikita natin that the exponent is 1 plus 1. So, i-divide natin 1 plus 1. Ito, the entire expression, yung sinabi natin kanina. Then, we continue. We have now x squared over 2. Okay. So, ito yung antiderivative natin ng x. Pero dahil may 0 to 3 siya, that's why, yung naunang video natin, maglalagay tayo dito ng ating 0 to 3. This is your upper and lower limit, the boundary. Okay. Meaning to say, itong 0 to 3, i-apply na natin ito. F of b minus f of a. Sa nakita natin, sa example na to, wag na masyadong pansinin ito kasi medyo tapos na tayo dito. Nakita natin x dx. So, yung x natin, eto si f. Okay? And then, antiderivative ni x is x squared over 2. Siya na yung f. Okay? Then, dahil nakuha na natin si f, ipapalit natin si b. So, substitute natin sa x lang. Okay? Sa variable na x, all others will remain the same. Okay? Pag napalit mo na yung b, ma-minus mo naman, ipapalit mo naman si a. Okay? So, using that, we have here, yung x natin magiging ng 3. We have 3 squared over 2 minus. Ito na yung f of b. Kasi pinalit na natin si 3 sa x. I-copy mo si squared and si 2. Minus. Dito na tayo kay 0. F of 0. Therefore, we have 0 squared over 2. Continue natin. So, makikita natin that we have 3 squared. Or simply, it means 3 times 3. Ngayon, ano mangyayari? So, dahil 3 times 3 siya, magiging siyang 9 over 2. Okay, 9 over 2 siya. And then we have minus 0 over 2. So, 0 over 2, 0 na siya. Therefore, the answer is 9 over 2 square units. Ayan. Which is exactly the same with your first answer na ginamitan natin ng basic geometry or plane geometry. Okay, meaning to say, kung tatanungin mo ang sarili mo ngayon, pwede ko rin pala ito gamitin. Now, can I use this at all times? The answer to that is no. Kaya, na-introduce sa atin ang definite integrals or the fundamental theorem of calculus, kung saan magagamit natin ito sa paghanap ng mga regions na hindi na straight lines. Okay, let's have an example of that. Yun mismo ang gamitin natin. Na hindi na pala magagamit ito, itatry natin yon kung saan ang example natin ay eto lang talaga ang magagamit. Let's have the second example. Isin na natin to. Balik natin itong isa para makita nyo. A, B. Now, example number 2. You are given the function f of x is equal to x squared from with a closed interval of 0 to 2. Ito lang, mas maliit lang. Gawa muna tayo ng Cartesian plane. This is your x-axis and your y-axis. Dahil ang interval natin ay from 0 to 2, remember, ang x squared, ang graph niyan ay parabola. Kung nahihirapan kayo, paano yun gagawin, sir? How do we graph a function? Pwede mong gamitan ng mga applications sa mobile phones ninyo kung saan ilalagay nyo lang yung formula or the function itself. Ito, f of x is equal to x squared. In some of the applications, wala kayong makikitang f of x. Ito ay y equals x squared. So, ilalagay mo y is equal to x squared para makuha mo yung graph. Okay? And then, ikakopy mo na lang or idodraw mo na lang sa papel mo. I am not very strict with graphing of these functions kasi hindi naman kayo mga math teachers. So, you are of different fields of specialization. So, mag-focus lang tayo dito kung may available tayong resources to be able to graph it in a manner that will give us ease, yun ang gagamitin natin. So, we have here, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Okay? Okay, medyo masyadong maluluwag yung ano niya. Spacing, hindi siya nag-equal. Okay. Graph natin. Masyadong steep. Okay. Okay. So, bale, ito lang muna ang i-graph natin. Hindi na natin kukunin yun sa kabila. Kasi it's a parabola. Para siyang letter U that opens upward. Now, if it opens upward, ngayon, sabihin yan, dalawa meron dito sa kabila. Kaso, ang interval natin is from 0 to 2 only. Dahil from 0 to 2 siya, dito lang tayo sa right side. Okay? So, ito yung 0 natin. This is your origin. And then, from 1 to 2, gagawa ulit tayo ng boundary. Okay? Alright. So, ito ulit ang ating area na kukuhanin yung nasa loob lang. So, this one. Okay. If you are now interested in finding the area of this region bounded by the curve of x squared, the x-axis, and the interval from 0 to 2, eto na makukuha natin. Kung mapapansin natin, hindi siya katulad ng example number 1 natin, which is represented by a right triangle. Kasi ito, this is a curve. Hindi siya straight line. Pa-curve siya. Okay. Ngayon, hindi na natin magagamitan ng 1/2 base times height. Gagamitin na natin yung concept natin ng definite integral. So, dito sa ano natin, the problem is given by f of x is equal to x squared. Therefore, your problem can be rewritten in this manner, which is x squared, derivative of x from 0 to 2. So, dito yung 0, dyan ang 2. Now, eto muna ang hahanapan natin, yung x squared. Katulad ng ginawa natin sa naunang example. Now, remember we have x squared. Sabi natin, if this is an exponential expression, to find the antiderivative of that function, we add 1 from the exponent, and then yung bagong exponent, i-divide na natin dito sa function na to, or sa expression na to. So, magpa-plus 1 tayo. This will now be over 2 plus 1. Okay? So, continue. We have x cubed over 3. And then, don't forget your interval from 0 to 2. 0 to 2. Ayan. So, again, at nandito na tayo sa formula natin. X cubed over 3 is your antiderivative. Then, from this antiderivative, substitute the upper limit and then substitute the lower limit. Subtract. Therefore, we have Eto, unahin natin. We have 2 raised to 3 over 3 minus. Dahil nagawa na natin, dito na naman tayo sa 0. 0 raised to 3 over 3. Continue. We have 2 raised to 3. That means 2 times 2 times 2. So, ang sagot mo dyan ay 8 over 3 minus. This is 0 raised to 3. 0 times 0 times 0 is 0. Divided by 3 is 0. So, 8 over 3 minus 0. Therefore, the answer is 8 over 3 square units. Okay. Meaning, ang area ng ating region based from the function, the graph of the function of f of x is equal to x squared with a closed interval from 0 to 2 is 8 over 3 square units. Okay? Meaning to say pala, para makuha natin ang mga area ng regions na bounded by different curves from the different functions given to you, the prerequisite skill that you need is the process of differentiating. Sabihin, dapat marunong ka, or anti-differentiating, dapat marunong ka maghanap ng antiderivative. Kasi, pag nakuha mo na yung antiderivative, ang gagawin mo na lang, magsasubstitute ka. And marami tayong paghahanap ng different types of antiderivatives based on the given function. Kung bibigyan kayo ng radical function, iba naman ang process nun. Okay? Sige, magbibigay ako ng example ng isang radical function, pero hindi na natin i-graph. Okay? So, this will be our example for the first one. This is the second one. Now, etong example ko, pwede nyong i-graph sa cellphone ninyo kung meron kayong mga applications na magso-support ng ating function given. Sige. This is example number 3. Suppose the function is given by f of x is equal to x times the square root of x plus, sabihin natin, x squared plus 1. Okay, wag na natin damihan, baka hindi na kayanin. From 1 to 4. Ayan. Assuming na nag-graph na natin. Pero hindi na natin i-graph, okay? But if you want, or if you're interested in finding the graph of this function, pwede mo namang gamitan ng graph kung saan mahahanap mo yung exact na curve doon sa taas ng ating x-axis. Sige. Now, kung makikita natin, we have the antiderivative of x times x squared, the square root of x squared plus 1 with respect to x from 1 to 4. Okay. So, nakikita natin, radical yung the square root of x squared plus 1. Naituro na natin ito, na natutunan nyo na ito doon sa una nating video lesson kung saan you are taught how to find the antiderivative of an expression or a function whose expressions are found in the radical sign. So, nakikita natin, meron tayong the square root of x squared plus 1. Eto, interesado tayo dito kasi ang alam lang natin, the square root of x. Automatic, alam natin kung ano yung sagot niya. Now, para hindi tayo mahirapan, pwede nating i-represent si x squared plus 1. Aalisin natin eto. Retain lang siya doon sa problem natin. Etong x squared plus 1, pwede mo siyang i-represent as a single variable only. Okay? Halimbawa, gawin natin itong u. So, kung papalitan mo siyang u, kailangan natin na-distribute in a way kung saan, pag pinalit mo yung u mo doon sa loob, you can now find it easily. Okay? Pero dapat nakuha mo automatically kung paano yung antiderivative niya, ay yung derivative niya. Kasi kukuhanin mo muna yon. Okay? Kasi, you will get the derivative of u para mapalitan mo din yung dx dito. Okay? Kasi yung gusto natin, yung mga x dyan ay mapalitan ng u. Therefore, yung dx, mapapalitan dapat din siya ng du. Okay? So, if u is equal to x squared plus 1, eto, dapat makuha mo ang kanyang derivative, which is represented by du. So, sa derivative natin, we have, this is 2x dx. Meron ka pang dx, okay? Kasi ang pinag-usapan natin, derivative of x. Sana hindi nalilito. Ngayon, paano nangyari? Sa derivative. Kasi, sa pagkakataong ito, combination ito. May derivative ka and antiderivative. Saan gagamitin yung derivative? Ginagamit siya if you are only finding the expression inside the radical sign. Okay? Kasi nagkaroon ka ng representation of another variable. Bakit mo gagawin ang derivative niya? Antiderivative nga ang hinahanap because your problem is already expressed as a derivative, which is dx. Derivative na siyang dati. Kaya kung gagalawin mo yung nasa loob ng radical sign, dapat derivative din ang may express mo sa kanya. Okay? So, sabi natin, pag kumukuha tayo ng derivative, yung exponent i-multiply sa unahan, which is your numerical coefficient, kung ano man ang number na nandiyo dyan. So, dahil walang number, that means 1 siya. So, 2 times 1 equals 2. Copy the variable and subtract 1 from the exponent. Kasi ang derivative ay kabaliktaran lang ng iyong antiderivative. So, sige. Therefore, the derivative is du is equal to 2x dx. Okay, ngayon ang importante, mahanap natin kung ito na x squared plus 1 nagawa na nating u, may natitira ka pa, x and dx. So, nakita na natin si dx and si x. Pero may 2. So, dapat makita natin x and dx lang. Aalisin natin si 2 dito. Para mawala si 2, i-divide natin both sides by 2. Okay. Ngayon, pag dinivide natin both sides by 2, magigitong over 2 over 2. Therefore, du over 2 equals x derivative of x. Ano ang halaga ng mga nagawa natin, nahanap natin? Eto na u, automatic ipapalit mo siya dyan sa x squared plus 1, this one. And then, yung x derivative of x, automatically ipapalit mo siya, ay papalitan mo siya ng du over 2. Nasaan si x and dx? Eto siya. Etong dalawang yan, papalitan mo ng du over 2. Okay, sige, gawin natin. Magiging siyang, ito magiging siyang 1 to 4. This is x, derivative of x, magiging siyang du over 2. And then, we have x squared plus 1. Or the square root of u. Okay? Square root of u siya. Kasi nakuha na natin yung ating kailangan na x and derivative of x lang. Now, we continue. So, we have this will become u raised to 1/2. Okay, para makuha natin ang antiderivative niya. Tapos, magpa-plus 1 lang tayo. And then, 1/2 plus 1. We continue. This will become u raised to 1/2 plus 1 is 3 over 2. Ito din 3 over 2. Okay? Pero wag natin kakalimutan na may du over 2 tayo, which is 1/2. Kaya pang-multiply natin yun na 1/2 sa unahan. Okay? Kasi mawawala na yung du kapag magsosolve na tayo ng antiderivative. Okay? Ulitin natin, the square root of u is u raised to 1/2 lang naman. Plus 1, so 1/2 plus 1, 3/2. 1/2 plus 1 na nilagay din natin sa denominator is also 3/2. Copy du over 2. Pero since antiderivative na, mawawala na si du. Magiging na lang siyang 1 over 2. Therefore, we continue 1/2 times u raised to 3 over 2 times. Kasi ito, fraction din. So, i-reciprocal natin. Pag baliktarin natin yung location ng numerator and denominator nang nandito lang, yung 3/2 lang. Okay? Para ma-simplify natin. Magiging siyang 2/3. Meaning to say, ang i-multiply lang naman natin dito, yung 1/2 and 2/3. Copy mo lang si u raised to 3/2. Sige. We will have 1/2 times 2/3 is 2 over 6. Kasi 1 times 2, 2. 2 times 3 is 6. Copy u raised to 3/2. Alright, continue. Etong 2 over 6 natin, pwede natin i-simplify. Maghanap tayo ng number na makaka-divide sa 2 at saka sa 6 para ma-simplify siya. So, ang makaka-divide sa 2 at saka 6 ay 2. So, i-divide natin. 2 divided by 2 equals 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And then, itong yun na to, kinuha lang naman natin siya. X squared plus 1 lang naman siya. Okay. So, ibabalik natin yung value ni u, which is x squared plus 1. Kaya magiging siyang times x squared plus 1. And then, copy mo pa rin yung 3/2. So, 3 over 2, which is your exponent. Meaning, ang antiderivative ng ating problem na to, which is x times the square root of x squared plus 1 is 1/3 times x squared plus 1, or the quantity of x squared plus 1 raised to 3 over 2. However, this is not yet the final answer kasi this is from 1 to 4. Isa-substitute mo pa siya. So, sige. Alisin natin yung mga nandito. And then continue solving. So, that is 1/3 times the quantity of x squared plus 1 raised to 3 halves from 1 to 4. So, copy mo lang ang lahat ng nandiyan except sa x kasi papalitan mo ng 4. So, 1/3 times 4 squared plus 1 raised to 3 halves. Dahil napalit mo na si 4, si 1 naman, minus 1/3 times 1 squared plus 1 raised to 3 halves. Sige, we continue. This will become 1/3. Copy mo lang. 4 squared is 16 plus 1 is 17 raised to 3 halves minus 1/3 times 1 squared is 1. Kasi this is 1 times 1. Therefore, 1 plus 1 equals 2 raised to 3 halves. Sana nasundan ba ito? Sana nasundan. This is 4 squared. 4 times 4 equals 16 plus 1 equals 17. Eto, this is 3 over 2, mga rational, mga exponential expression. So, i-solve natin using the calculator. This is 17 raised to, this is 3 over 2 times 1/3. We have 23.36 minus 1/3 times, this is 2 raised to 3 halves. The answer is 0.94. So, simplify. 23.36 minus 0.94. The answer is 22.42 square units. Okay. Kung mapapansin nyo, meron tayong approximation dito. Kasi nga, itong 17 raised to 3 halves times 1/3 is 23.36. Approximation lang siya. This is not exactly 0.36. May mga nakasunod pa doon. The same way with 1/3 times 2 raised to 3 halves. Hindi siya exactly 0.94. May mga kasunod pa doon, pero ni-round up na natin or ni-round off na natin. Kaya we have approximation of 22.42 square units as the area bounded by the curves of the function x times the square root of x squared plus 1 from 1 to 4 above the x-axis. So, this is how we do that. Okay? Kaya, ang importante ay malaman mo ulit, how do you find the antiderivative of a given function? Kasi yung pag-substitute mo, madali na lang. You can make use of calculator kapag siya ay mga complex expressions na. Magsa-substitute ka ng values of the variable concerned. Pero, kung hindi mo alam kung ano yung antiderivative niya, you will not be able to find the area bounded by the curves. Okay? So, I hope you learned something today. In the next video lesson or in the next virtual conference or meeting that we are going to have in your class, we are going to tackle functions or regions that are bounded by curves, not above the x-axis. Yung may below na, tapos dalawa ng functions ang involved na paalon or curves na magkasalubong, etc. Yun ang kukuhanan natin or aalamin natin kung paano ba hinahanap yung mga areas bounded by those functions. Okay? Thank you.